The Italians were good for one thing, and that was news.
No.
Hello and welcome to the Cowboy for Game Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. I'm your host Jake. Today we are joined by Ben from NolanTCG.
Hello.
And returned by Andrew from Cowboy for Game, believe it or not.
Your local Flunder player.
Yeah.
It's almost like we just have a rotating cast of Flunder players coming to this podcast.
Yeah.
Wait, who else is rotated with Flunder here?
Blake,
Yeah.
all he does is just play Flunder online.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair.
Yes. How was our week in Yu-Gi-Oh? Let's start with Ben.
Yeah, my week was alright. Tuesday, I had already abandoned it, and I was like, I literally don't care about how my Tuesday goes. I showed up with like half-baked Element, and I was like, my stuff just hasn't arrived in the mail yet. So let's just go. We'll play what we play, and then we'll figure it out from there. I can't remember how I went. I think I went like X2 or something. And then next day, all my stuff gets delivered. So then we come to today. I'm playing Dragon Maid.
Makes sense.
I don't know
I
why.
was playing Half-Baked here because I didn't have it, and then when I got it, I was like, dragons!
Well, I haven't gotten the Ishizu stuff yet. That doesn't. That only arrived in Australia on Friday, so mine won't arrive till like Wednesday, Thursday next week. This is the part where Jake realizes that I bought it and didn't tell him.
I know. You told me how you got it.
Okay. Yeah, true. There we go.
He's just been telling everyone, but not to tell everyone else.
Yeah, I was like, I'm
At
getting
work.
this. Don't tell anyone.
Bloody hell. To be fair, Dragon Maid got jacked with all this
Yeah,
Bestial Spawn
all the
and
Bestial stuff.
other stuff.
It's a good deck.
I was saying it reminisces me of Orcust a little bit, where I'm like, oh, it's this, but just also Fenris and also Bestial and also other
It's
stuff.
like throwing them all around. Like,
It's good synergy though.
it works well when you draw well. In my game 3s today, I did not draw well. It got a bit brutal. Yeah. Overall, I'm enjoying the deck. I'm gonna play it for at least probably like the next week or two until I'm like comfortable with Ishizu tier, and then I'll play Ishizu tier probably for the rest of the year. That's gonna be fun. I'm gonna really, really enjoy playing the same deck for. I feel like I was gonna say like 3 months, but I'm only playing it for a month. Well, by the time I start playing it, it's gonna be a month out from
A month and a half, yeah.
Yeah.
Whether we can or not, we'll find out.
Yes.
Andrew.
Emergency band.
This week, Tuesday was good. I got to the finals undefeated. Lost the finals to Leo. So first time in a while I've lost to Tillemans with Flunder. The new support makes it a fair bit harder to crack. And some of the old stuff that they're now playing. So the spell and trap negates and some of the other things, it's a little trickier. Then you lightning storm the back row, and then it's like, yeah, you get rid of it, but then they all seem to do something.
Yeah, they all do something when you pop it.
Yeah, I'm like,
Everything's now
I
good.
can't win either way. But yeah, that was pretty good. And then today, I decided to play Drake Slayer because I got all that stuff from in. I finally got enough. Look, it didn't go super well, but yeah, I'm still happy with it. Still learning it. That deck's like really complicated. Like there is a basic combo, which I probably still stuffed up. But I think that the tricky part I've found is that there's a lot of times where you summon from deck,
Yeah.
and it's knowing in between 3 and 7 moves later which one you actually needed to have been on the field. Did it need to be the tuner? Did it need to be the spellcaster? Did it need to be the other one? Have I left enough in deck to continue pushing and playing? Have I left enough of the right scale to search to fix it up later?
Yeah.
Surprisingly complex, and needless to say, I'm playing Flunder at YCS because that is pretty damn straightforward.
Did you shift to them? Yes.
I didn't shift it today.
Oh, you played-
I was
did you-
playing Drake.
You played it
No,
today.
I'm playing at YCS. It's like, did you
Oh.
shift to them? Yes.
Oh yeah,
He was
that,
predicting the future. I see.
that is the game plan. Just draw shifter, takes a lot of skill, and
Actually,
it's good.
just on that briefly, I was watching the stream for YCS Pasadena this morning. Literally, the first thing I tuned into was game 3 of round 2, I think it was, which was Tier vs Flunder. Flunder went to D-shifter in draw phase. They dropped Herald of Orange Light with one of the mills, milled 5, and they were all 5 different tier names.
Good lord.
It was kind of bonkers. I was like, holy shit.
Sometimes you just win.
Yeah, just get good, scrub. By far out.
Yeah, I was very surprised by that. So, my week. Didn't play Monday, didn't play Saturday. Tuesday, I
Ben
had...
implies like we play Monday and Saturday.
I know why you don't. I don't know why you don't.
You all attend just to watch Andrew win on a Saturday or a Monday.
Well, not soon, because I'll have negates for the shifter. Literally, the only thing that complicates that matchup is the shifter, and to an extent, the other thing.
Alright, sure.
But anyway, so Tuesday, I had enough of the new stuff that I could play it, because I bought a few packs and pulled the Rukalos, and I'd gotten some other commons and stuff, so I was playing sort of a slap together, sort of mid-ish tier element. Basically just, the Rukalos is like bonkers, and then the new stuff is really good. My favourite of the new tier element cards, though, is the Spell and Trap Spin. That card is fucking so good.
Yes, but I like Scream better.
They're both good.
I think Scream is the best card.
Scream has more overall utility, because it does more when it goes to grave. When Heartbeats goes to grave, it doesn't do as much.
It's like Scream Reinhardt is like the ideal opener now, right?
I think so.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's my favourite of the new ones, because that was, again, one of the things that tier elements didn't have before, was spell and trap removal that wasn't a trap. So now having that, and not being as restrictive as some of the other cards, because all the other ones need a tier element on the board to activate. This one doesn't.
Yeah,
they did get a solid boost, and I could really feel that in the finals that I most recently had. I'm sure that'll be on the Ben's channel at some point, but I was like, oh, there's a lot more teeth in this deck now. It's not just mill and summon, it's a bit of back row control now. It's kind of really changed how it feels like to play against that deck.
It would help if I got my hands on it to actually feel it, but you know, I'll figure it out eventually.
And then today, I just had two of my absolute worst matchups, both of them being Exorcista.
I almost do Exorcista today as well.
All I wanted today was to verse fucking Terelement. I was like, give me Terelement, and then I just didn't verse Terelement all day. Against Josh in round 3, I was like, finally, a light deck. And it like mattered that I had the Bestials, and then he activated Superfactorial to like XE summon, and I was like, I've got this. Activate my Call by the Grave. Realized I played the Incompound column and just scooped. He didn't even realize I'd played the Incompound column. I like, did it, and he's like, oh, so I can't XEs anymore because it's this. And I'm like, no, I'm scooping. I activated the Incompound column. It's game over. I was like,
Ben.
Yeah, my bad.
Shit. Ben.
He's not fessed up to it.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, Exorcista hard fucked me just because, like, the monster's one thing of like the banish, tag out, banish, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
It was more that he had 4 back row and I had not nearly enough removal. Because like one was Cowboy, one was another banish.
Yeah.
Because like if I'd been able to clear at least one of those back row before I started, I'd been able to play through that board.
Game 1, when you played Chad, round 1, he activated Dimensional Fissure and then also had the macro set.
Oh yeah, that was no, that was game 2 because I sided the Cosmic Sid.
Okay.
He's like had the Dimensional Fissure. I'm like looking at the Cosmic. I'm like, oh, it's not a lost cause. Like we can do this. So Cosmic that. He's like on resolution. Flip macro. I'm like, yep.
Back in that deck's getting so problematic.
To be honest, actually, I was able to play through that as well too. It was the extra 2 banishes that he had spot removal. So it was because I had Ice Open really good. It was like Luster Pendulum and Purple Poison. I checked Purple Poison. I'm like, oh, this doesn't have to be anywhere. It just has to be destroyed. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then it was just on activation of Luster, flip this, banish Luster, banish this, and I'm like, yeah, all right, fair enough, we're done. But,
yeah, Exorcista is like obnoxiously powerful off of very few cards.
Yeah.
Like, Martha has made that deck obnoxious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
Obviously depends on the matchup too, yeah.
However, it does play in Nibiru.
Oh yeah.
The standard open is exactly 5 summons.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, people. Exactly 5 summons.
To be fair, I didn't get to verse a lot of the standard meta, but like I was just thinking that today. I was like, man, I'm pretty sure Nib would have like done really well for me today, like in pretty much every match I was in.
I think, is it Rukalos is the card that can negate
Rukalos is the one that negates Nibiru.
Okay.
That's why it's no longer as powerful against tier element.
Yeah.
And also, like, even if they don't happen to get to a Rukalos, most of the time the stuff that you're sending, depending on timing, is like, oh no, anyway.
Yeah.
It used to be a point like if they got to their end board, Nibiru, they're done.
Yeah.
But now they're setting up a Rukalos at a point where it's like, oh, I can nib them, but it won't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. I'm iffy on whether or not I want to take the nib out. I think my side deck at the moment is going to be problematic for Dragon Maid. I need to make some slight changes.
My side deck is garbage. I need to change it.
I sided heavily for Flunderies, and Andrew was like, I'm playing this. And I was like, I knew you were playing this. Still sided for Flunderies. But here we are.
That's the key to win your YCS. Just
Side wrong.
just side correctly for all 12 of your matchups that you don't know.
Exactly.
Very good. Very good.
How's the news this week, Jake?
There's a bit of news. So we'll start with the upcoming Battles of Legend set.
We didn't start with Master Duel this week.
We didn't because there's not much to talk about.
Good.
But we have some leaks as to what's coming out in that, in terms of rarities and actual cards. So it looks like Plunder Patrol is getting a reprint because we've got, is it Blackbeard? Yeah, Blackbeard.
Yes.
The Link is getting a secret.
Yep.
We've got number 2, Zero Mosquito. Whatever that card is. I think it's like Dust Mosquito or something like that. I think it's the true number card because the current number 2 is not the real number 2 or something numbers.
I remember seeing it pop up in some lists from the OCG, but I can't remember what it does. It's decent. It's quite decent.
Yeah, it's a rank 2, so it might give some utility to Sprite, depending on what it actually does. We've got Numeron Dragon. That's been a sort of needed reprint. I think it got printed in the last Battles of Legend. Or possibly even the one before.
It was reprinted in the Legendary Duelist reprint set.
That's
the one that traditionally gets used for OTKs, right?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, the rank 8 OTK thing.
Yeah.
Celine, the Link 3, gets a secret reprint.
Just after I bought one a few weeks ago, just paid like, what did I pay, like $50 for it or something? Or
Something obnoxious. It was a stupid price considering like only Sky Striker was the one really using it, and even then without help they weren't using it
anymore.
Yeah, and the how far off is that? I think is it secret, that print? Or
that's secret.
That would be secret. Yeah.
How far are we off on that?
I don't actually know when it
I think it's mid-November. It's
so you get it like next week.
Sorry, no. Where are we now? It's like late November, early December set.
Okay.
Depends if it goes delayed
in the next month or so.
So I do regret my decision. In summary.
We also get one of the Evil Twin links is here, Lila, so more than likely we'll get some more of the Evil Twin reprints, which is kind of needed because like those ultras are going for about $50 each. Those links, it's kind of obnoxious.
Wow.
We've also got Artemis, the link one for Magistus.
Yep.
That's getting a secret, which is nice.
Needed a reprint.
Yep. And we've also got Heavenly Spheres getting an ultra reprint.
Came in ultra, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Oh, good. That's some variety.
Yeah, I really love that change of pace.
Yeah.
It's really good, Konami.
Very good.
Couldn't give me a secret rare.
You know what I was missing?
No, they couldn't give you that secret rare because they put that in for Fusion Destiny.
Oh, good. I was just thinking on my copy of Skills, I was like, you know what would make this great? Slightly changing the small letters under the picture. Like, that's just what we need, bro. Exactly. It's perfect. Very good.
Also confirmed today, because it's the giant card for the YCS that's currently happening right now, Doodle Dino is a secret rare.
Doodle Dino.
Big Doodle.
Yeah.
Dino.
Big old T-Doodle.
Yeah.
Yes, because Dino really needed another way to pop cards and interact off turn.
That's fine.
Yeah,
actually, they lost House.
Let's be honest. We've lost like that deck hasn't been able to do anything for ages. Since what Miss Gwent and
unless you
definitely won Miss.
Play against the one person at locals who's playing it, and he opens the absolute fucking nuts against you both games.
Literally, you should have seen. He opened nuts against him and me.
I've literally never lost.
I
him,
remember.
So I can't sympathise.
So against me, he opened Super Poly, Call by the Grave, and Pancratops, and still had enough to do combo off the last 2 cards.
I got hit with game 1 was Oviraptor branded fusion 4 hand traps, and game 2 was triple fossil dig 2 hand traps, and I was like, cool.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is just everything.
Just open good. The one thing that we don't know about this, and it'll be interesting to see what they actually do, is they traditionally reprint a prize card in this set.
I think we've had this discussion before, like off camera. I don't think you can do that this year.
Yeah, well, I was running through my head of like what you'd actually reprint.
Would
All
it
of the
be
old
Dueling?
ones except for Blood Mephisto.
So it'd be Dueling Dragon, right?
Dueling Dragon or Blood Mephist, but Dueling Dragon's only just stopped being a prize card, so I just don't see them doing
It's also
it.
useless, so like they probably could and it would make 0 impact.
Like, yeah.
True.
Like, I mean, and that's saying like Dueling Dragon stuck around way too long, right? Because we've had all like YCSs.
Well, yeah, because of the delay that we had, they never
3
refreshed
years
it.
of Dueling
Yeah,
Dragon.
yeah, exactly right. We should be like what, another 2 prize cards ahead by now.
Yeah.
In a perfect
yeah,
world.
that's actually a fair point because we've had Duel Links Dragon for so long. Like there should have been that vanilla that we had should have come into rotation a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you compare it to the time of what, let's just go back to my favorite YCS 2017, where we had for no reason at all, where we had Utopia Kaiser,
Yeah.
and then like what was the time frame between that and the?
They
reprint, right?
normally change it every Worlds.
No, I mean like between when we got that came out as a prize versus that got a
2.5
reprint.
years.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we are about due for Duel Links Dragon to come in this. If it does, if it doesn't, it really doesn't matter. It's a garbage card.
Yeah, no one's gonna play it.
I think that's good though. Like, I think that's a nice in a way.
I've said this for a long time.
Because the problem is they're legal, right? That's the problem.
Yeah, they're legal, but like, if you want to talk about scarcity, like a Shizu card scarcity has nothing on a prize card.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
We did hit that point. Remember the YCS
Minerva?
with... Well, Minerva's one, but we also hit it with
Chaos Emperor Dragon.
But that was a prize card, and then Jesse Cotton was like, "You can play this in Thunder Dragons."
Yeah.
Off we go.
Thunder Dragon Link. Just
I found that super obnoxious when they were doing deck lists and deck profiles online
this?
as well. It's just like,
It's kind of necessary.
I'm playing Dark, I'm playing Raw, I'm playing this $2,000 prize card.
Yeah. That's in his current list as well too. I was watching that yesterday. I think it was on Drilling Book or something like that.
Yeah.
And yet again, he's made the price spike because like they're going for absurd money
Yeah,
now.
it's like $100 for those secret.
It's such a nice it's such a cool deck as well. It's like just 60 card, just push, effectively like reminiscent of old Dragon Link. I was like, that's cool. I'm not gonna do it, but that's cool.
A fat deck that likes to put stuff in graveyard.
Yeah.
Where else could you see that in this format?
Oh, it has all that stuff. It's like literally, it has Tears, it has a Shizu, it has Thunder Dragon,
Wax
it has
Bisted in there.
Yeah, no, it has Bisted in there.
Yeah.
Has a few other things like that. It was like, I mean, the dude's a genius, right? Like he gets the results. It is what it is. You can't call it luck when you're like
I
winning
wonder if
YCS
he's
after
playing
YCS
that at the YCS today.
I don't know.
Because he was...
In hindsight, we will know.
Yes,
by the time you hear this, it'll be established.
This will
be
sound like
confirmed.
a stupid question by the time you hear this.
It's currently... I think they're playing round 9, day 1 right now, as this is being filmed. So, when this airs, it'll be over.
Yeah, just on that quickly as well, what are we thinking in terms of end result?
Tour Element. A Shizu.
You reckon it'll just pack out top?
I reckon it'll be heavy.
Yeah, I think, like, so for example, like, on the point of, you know, as much as Flunder triggers people and all the rest, like, the ability... There are so many scenarios that pre-Shizu you would just have locked it up with Flunder, and now you haven't.
Yeah.
Now they've got their Orange Light, now they've gone having a soft turn beforehand. I think Flunder, as much as it cops some hate, is a great thing that keeps that in check, and people have to respect it, or maybe it whittles someone down. I don't think it's going to be able to do it this time.
I think.
Like, I reckon we'll have, what, is it top 32 this time, or 64?
I think it goes to
surely
64.
64.
It's 19.
It'll be,
like
it'll
almost,
be 64.
Yeah, it's almost like 2,000 people
We're
there,
pushing
right?
128. Because it's like 256 is 128.
Yeah, well, there are 2,000.
So 2048 should be the thing that breaks it into the next bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just under that, so it'll be top 64.
Yeah. My prediction then would be... I'm actually going to go as far as saying I think there'll be over 55 Ishizu tier elements
Of the
out of
64?
64.
Yeah.
I reckon it's just that good.
It's simply going to be a case of that versus Exo or Flundereese, and did they see enough shifters to stop them?
Yeah, exactly right.
That's
exactly.
Gonna be the entire
Did you win the die roll enough? Wins game 1 and 3, kept your barrier on field. Cool.
Yeah.
You've won. You've opened shifter each time. That's going to be the variance, 100%.
I did see a rather interesting list that popped up on camera where they're playing Tier Element Sprite just to play Sprite on their turn 1, so that when their opponent starts playing their Ishizu stuff, they start hitting their Tier Elements on the off turn.
That's funny.
Because the Gigantic Sprite turns off the Magnuments and everything.
Yeah.
And then it's like, cool, you can't Bestial me anymore, you can't do this. I'm just going to set up a Sprite board, and then when you start milling my deck, I'm going to play Tier Element. And then all my Bestials are also going to fly out.
Yeah.
It's
They
like,
just hit the Ishizu, start milling, they're like, oh shit, abort, no. What do you
That
do?
would actually be really funny to like play something that's not traditionally mill, and then you just, I like that idea. I'm not going to play it because I don't want to buy another engine. But
I love that everyone's starting to look at all these bloody ridiculous techs to potentially run. So even Chaz was showing me today, apart from the ones we already know, Neko Main or whatnot. I'm not even pretend to remember what the name of it was, but some sort of spell, and it's just like, if it's milled, your opponent can't special, I think it is, or something like that. Oh, no, sorry, no, it was, if it's milled... No, I'm thinking of the field spell, sorry, no, he had a field spell that was...
was it a continuous spell?
Yeah, no, it was a field spell. It was like if you're on your third summon, the thing ends. No, he did have one for mill.
Oh, yeah, there is a field spell that's like summon limit. It's like each player can only summon 3 times. The second they mill summon the third time, their turn ends.
Yeah.
oh.
Okay. No, there wasn't. Sorry, I'll have to circle back to it to remember. But there was some other. There's been a few interesting ones that are just like if you mill this from deck, this happens. Like we've got the Neko, and then there was another one. But...
He was playing some continuous spell against me. I think it was an Earthbound card or something similar. Wasn't that one?
Everyone now proceeds to Try and scramble and see if they can
Neuron,
find
tell me your secrets.
But yeah, he was playing some continuous spell that's like, yeah, you just can't send cards from deck to grave. I was like, oh, that's annoying.
Problematic.
Anyway, Lightning Storm.
But anyway.
But yeah, continuing on with news, we have the very last alternate arts announced for the Selection Pack 5. God knows when we'll get these, especially considering this last one.
Well, odds on we probably won't see them until our our Magnificent Maidens next year.
Yeah, this
happened
I dare
last
say this will
time.
take a long time.
But
Well, they might. I don't want them to by any means. I'd be happy to wait till Mavens.
Mavens 2 or
But-
Gold 4 or whatever you want to call it.
Well,
Gold
yeah, that's
18.
that's the point I'm making. I do not want these printed in gold.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what happened
these are
last
some
time.
of the
Yeah.
nicest alt arts that they've done in a while, and
No,
I
Jake,
don't want
only
them to
gold.
fuck them.
Only Gold,
I
Jake.
hate it so much.
Throwback to that.
Well, they reprinted the Appaloosa art in Ultra art. in
Eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Well, look, as long as I get an eventually, that's fine.
Throwback to that access code that like everyone took the bait on, including myself. Like, do you
That
remember
access
that?
code looked garbage. Too.
I know, but then we're just like, oh yeah, we believe that would do something that bad,
Yeah.
and weirdly surprised that they didn't. Yeah.
Is it an actual artwork there, or is it just?
It was
I think it
from
was
the
fan made or
show.
something. Oh, was it?
It was just a screen cap from the show.
So I was gonna say, despite like even the fact that it was a bad art, it also looked bad in the art.
Yeah.
Like just the quality of the artwork looked really
Someone
shit.
just ripped a PNG off the show.
It's Dark Magic Ian all over again.
So yeah, the last three that we have For Ben, Dragon Maid Hospitality.
Yes.
Question mark?
Yes. I don't know what they're called. And I carry out the future.
Do we get an Empen alt art?
No,
No.
only this. Then we have Sky Striker Mobilizing Gauge, so that card's not getting banned here ever for like another year and a half because they'll have to sell this.
We just have to acknowledge that it's just going to be a thing now.
I don't want it to be a thing.
Like, I've actually come to terms with it. I'm like, it's so weird. As busted as it was and is to an extent, I'm like, I think we just have power crept it. Like, the different story, perhaps, if it does go back to 3, that's probably is critical mass. But I think at 1, it's just to the point where it's like, no, I don't think that engine's worth running in many decks now. Like, it's just not good. And also, I think you can just chain Bestials to banish the Ray now, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's probably the best part. It works. I think the deck is just not competitive if Mystic Mind's banned as well. If there's no Mystic Mind, I think that deck just kind of sucks.
Yeah, if that deck does lose Mystic Mind, then yeah, it loses a lot of its functionality.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one's actually gone down the path of doing like Sky Striker Runic.
I feel like someone's tried it. The issue is it skips your battle phase and the deck doesn't really do that much.
Yeah, I suppose.
yeah, you kind of want to dump with old mate. And,
Yeah.
And then lastly, and I've left it the last because I didn't want to discuss it at all if I could avoid it. Evil Twin, whatever. Which one's this one? I don't know which one this one is.
The other one.
I think it's.
Wait, go back. That's an awkward looking purple mark in the middle of a chest. Yeah. Definitely just looks like she has
The
center
Link 4,
nipples.
Link 2, or
It's the Link 2.
Link 2.
The
So
red
they've
one.
done both of them now.
It's
The
Kissy
blue
Kill.
one.
Kissy Kill. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've done both of them now in the old art.
They gave Kissy Kill a hickey on it too.
Yeah.
Sure.
This game's just fucking bizarre sometimes, you know?
Guess what art's not coming to the TCG?
I don't think
Oh,
we're
there's
getting
that
either
too.
of the two of them.
Yeah, have you considered, do you know what's in Lost Art for us in 4 years' time? We're looking at it.
Both of these.
Yeah.
And they'll be worth so much money because
Cleavage is illegal.
women.
Wait, actually, on this subject, is there any satanic imagery on Macabre 2 or Invocation 2?
I'm kind of curious though,
Actually-
like, with the Lost Arts, have we set a precedent that they have realised that all that stuff was ridiculous? Like, do you think we'll have censored arts moving forward, considering now we've got Lost Arts to basically
I
say,
brought this
I
up
think
a while back.
we still get censored arts because they can't say that they're selling those to kids. Because if you put censored art, like uncensored arts into the packs, Konami is then selling those to kids. Whereas if they're not in the packs and you get them via the Lost Art promotions, you're actively going out of your way to attain these arts. They're not just something that can show up if a mum goes to Kmart and buys a pack and gives it to Billy.
And Billy sees Booba.
Yeah. Billy sees Booba. 7-year-old Billy opens this up. What's Kissy Kill Leela, Mom?
jeez.
I want to watch a VTubers. No! He's been corrupted!
It's good thing none of these kids have ever been to the beach.
Yeah, true.
Like, heaven forbid they see 2D cardboard.
God forbid. Moving on, we have well, obviously, Magnificent Maidens is out for most regions, and from that we have the list of the Pharaoh rares. The card that's expensive, but you'll still be disappointed you pulled it because it's not a Shizu stuff.
I hear that.
At least for me.
I'm hearing so many conflicting things about the pull rate. And also, can we establish what's the case? A case is like 4 displays.
So here's the thing: a case
Give
is
us the
different
maths.
in every region. A case is different.
Oh, great.
However, the North American short prints are like the shit cards you don't want.
They're the secrets,
bizarre.
right?
It's all ultras.
Every time there's even a discrepancy between our printing and their printing, they get the better side of it.
No, that's wrong, because we got overprinted Magician Souls and they got short print Magician Souls.
They get entire boxes of Starlights.
That's valid. However, we're discussing this. So,
your point's valid, however, shut up.
Their short prints are
You're under irrelevancy.
I think it was... someone opened 54 cases, and it was... The 10 short prints were like... Just 10 fucking garbage cards you didn't want anyway. And it's like, so cool. Dumb. Gotta love it.
But anyway, if you are semi-lucky enough to pull a Pharaoh Rare, here is what you could potentially pull.
Also, Pharaoh Rares are easy to get in Europe.
Yeah, because we got lesser Shizu, so they need to fill the spots with other stuff.
So, I think a European... For this set, I think a European case is 10 boxes. A European case in North America... a North American case is 6 boxes. But... You get less than 1 Pharaoh Rare per case in North America, but you get 2 Pharaoh Rares per case in Europe.
Right.
However, adding on to this, North American Pharaoh Rares are secret rares, European Pharaoh Rares are ultra rares.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at before, the secrets and the ultras.
It's bizarre.
They need to get on top of this shit, because we've had way too many of these discrepancies between printings. Like, you've got the Starlight boxes for one, like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Then you've got the mistranslations that have happened for EU prints multiple times.
Aluba.
So dumb. It's
what was it? Manifestation was also that way?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was another one as well.
We'll remember eventually.
But yeah, like, they really need to get on top of this quality control.
It could just be a case of whoever's in the warehouse doing Pharaoh Rares in Texas is like, I don't like ultra rares. But who's made these secret rares? All of them. Like, the Egyptian gold cards were also secret rares.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's an inside job. He's got shares in international postage. Could increase those swapsies.
Yep.
Possible. I love that 25 years later as well, they still don't recognize like Oceania as a region. They're just like, you're part of Europe, right?
Europe.
You know, you guys sent those guys.
We're literally further away from Europe than they are.
They're like, you guys, they're the ones. You guys came from there, like in the 1800s. Yeah, same shit. Like,
those are those colonial types.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Anyway, back to the Pharaoh Rares we're getting. So we've got Red Eyes, Dark Magician Girl, because I realized...
Is this the European ones? Or is this...
It's the same cards, it's just they get them in Secret Rare, we get them in Ultra Rare.
Right, okay, I'm on the same page, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Red Eyes, Dark Magician Girl, Blue Eyes, it's one of the...
looks like dog shit.
Yeah, it's one of the worst arts. Elemental Hero Neos, Necro Valley, Triple Tactics, decent. Didn't really need another high rarity printing, but okay. Seal of Orichalcos, Toon Kingdom, Lightning Storm, Crystal Bond, Gold Sarcophagus, the True Name.
The Gold Sarc one is the one that I like.
It is nice.
Yeah.
I like them when they're thematic. So like the Seal of Orichalcos, Necro Valley, True Name, Gold Sarc. I think I may have said that twice. Millennium Eyes. I kind of like those as Millennium Rares because it's on theme.
Yeah.
But yeah, continuing on, we've got Rotar, Change of Heart, Mirror Force, the Millennium Eyes that I just mentioned, and Blockbuster Soldier of Chaos, the Link.
What was that, 20? So that's a fifth of the set is available in Pharaoh Rare?
8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17.
17, okay. Almost a quarter of the set's available in Pharaoh Rare. A fifth.
But from what I understand, some of these aren't actually pullable as normal Ultras. They're only available in the Pharaoh Rare. That was my understanding. I could be wrong.
Okay. If Jake's true, I give baffled look on my face as to why Kami would do that. If Jake's wrong, Jake, you're wrong.
It wouldn't be the first time. I'll quickly circle on to Master Duel because there isn't much to announce. Basically, the pass resets in 8 days.
I gotta finish that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
That's
You need to
kinda-
get your Bitron, mate.
I think I already unlocked the Bitron mate. I've just got to get to the 100 and get the stuff.
There's not that many rewards after the Bitron, mate, to be honest. They made this one shorter, but like still the same length, if that makes sense. Like the bulk of your the bulk of your rewards are at 75, but you still go to 100. You just get extra gems and ultra things and like
Okay,
whatever.
sure. I think I'm at like 72 with them.
So like a bulk of the rewards are gotten at 75.
Okay.
What's the meta looking like on Muscle? Is it still heavily Flunder, or is it...
Branded
Flunder-
Despia is the top performing deck
Yeah.
at the moment, with Flunder and Sword Soul sort of competing for second.
It's no issue to beat with Flunder.
Hmm.
Flunder's too good.
I think map went to 2 there or something like that. Like,
Yeah, I just replaced it with a Harpy's Feather Duster, so when I get dusted on my
yeah, you searched another.
thing, I just search it and I'm like, cool. I'm like, chain Harpy's Feather Storm. So your turn is now over, and now I'm going to search the Duster, so when you set your cards, I'm going to get rid of them.
What was I going to mention? I think half the problem with Flunder, at least on Master Duel, is that people are monkeys and they don't actually know how to play the deck.
Oh, yeah.
Like they sort of just they rely on the floodgates to actually get them through their plays, rather than actually thinking through what is going to be the most beneficial way to play it. Like you can tell when you verse someone that's very good with the deck, as opposed to someone who's just like, haha, berry statue.
See, the other day I played against,
Like in turn. See you later.
nah, bro. I played against Psyframes. And like I
Oh,
knew I was
fucking
playing against
Christ.
Psyframes, so I was like,
Win or lose, that deck's so frustrating.
I hate
I
versing
went
it.
like map Robina. I had a second Eaglin in hand, so it was like map Robina Eaglin was my hand, and I went like map Robina, banish the Eaglin, and I got hit on. I got Gamut on the thing, and I was like, oh, that sucks. But I already had the Eaglin, so I searched the barrier statue, then summoned the barrier statue, and then just like hard normal the Eaglin. And then it skipped around to his turn. He started activating all of the Psyframe, like the pure Psyframe field spell and everything. And I was like, oh, as long as this barrier statue's here, I've just won. You can't literally do anything.
Yeah, I don't think there's a summon or a card that gets
There is
around that.
literally no card in that deck that outs it.
Back in the day of like actual Cyframes when we had it, because I remember playing a little bit of it. I think it was all off-brand stuff that you did. Like I think it was like Wind Up Rabbit, and
yeah.
like that. Yeah, that was like your one little thing for smoke damage.
I never got around to playing it, but I wanted to play for a while Psyframe Knights, because purple banishing would trigger Lambda to search.
I'm gonna be real, Jake. I thought you were gonna say Psyframe Gradle.
Haha, have a monster on the board.
He was trying to keep it under wraps for YCS, but I guess we're not.
Yeah, I've just exposed him.
But,
Literally, the only reason I never pursued it is because I needed one card, which was the spell that like put the psychics back to synchro summon from banished.
Yeah.
It was a common that was $20, and I'm like, I refuse.
No.
I'm not doing that for some shit tier deck. No.
So I'm thinking of with the Draco. Actually, like Draco's, to be fair, is actually pretty decent. But I'm also like, how much do I really want to play this deck? Because like, if I take it seriously, I got to get like Fenrir's and and some of the Bistas stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend another $400
In
on
fairness,
the memes.
Andrew, you've gotten a fair way with Flunder without having to spend a fucking dollar. I think you
Those
could
advents
maybe...
cost me 20 each. All right. Maps of 20 each at the time. So
Maybe,
Exactly.
I think maybe you can splash on some cards that will be staples moving forward. Like maybe not
Perhaps.
Fenrir's. I'm not rushing out to buy Fenrir's at the moment.
It's completely side change of subject. Remember
feel like I'm
when
about to be
Flunderies came out and we were like, what if Sword Soul's just better? And then we both got Flunderies, played it for a little bit, then kind of switched decks, and then Sword Soul died, so we switched back and it was like, yes!
I never touched it, but I think the thing that polarized that is that Flunder's match into Sword Soul is not particularly great.
Yeah.
Which gave the impression that it was like better, which is not really accurate. It's a rougher matchup. Like I think most people would say like in combo heavy decks that they would rather play through a Sword Soul bowl than having to draw the out to Flunder.
Yeah.
Whereas like I don't know, this Shifter does very little against Sword Soul, and most of the stuff is like yeah.
At least, like, the thing with Sword Soul is that their floodgates didn't hit you.
Yeah.
They didn't often call wind, and even if they did, oh no, I can't special wind. Anyway, normal.
Yeah.
Whereas the other way around, Flunder's floodgates hit a lot more players.
The issue for Flunderies with Protoss was when they called water. Because it stops monster effects as well?
No.
Or is it discount summon?
You cannot special summon
Oh,
monsters
off you
with
go
attribute. Like,
Off to the
literally,
races.
that was one of the weaknesses of Sword Soul into Flunder, is like, the biggest strength of Sword Soul at that time was having the Protoss, and it did nothing to them.
It's okay. Andrew's gonna go on to Orange in January and play Flutter
Oh,
again.
redemption.
He's gonna redeem himself this time.
Top 8 coming
I
ninth.
think
That's
I've
how we
worked
do
out
it.
that I will be free for that.
Jake's in for
Oh,
Orange.
we're ready.
He said it on the podcast. On the pom pom.
That's how we do it.
I don't think I finished my Master Duel point. So pass finishes in
Yes.
8 days.
Yep.
The oldest of the selection packs finishes in 5. So
Yep.
we are due for a upcoming set. What that set will be, I honestly can't work out.
I can't
remember what came out after Branded and before Sprite. I can't. Oh, Therion.
Oh yeah, Therion. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Also,
So Therion Punk's going to be a thing pretty soon.
we also had. It was meant to be Labyrinth and.
True.
And the Spelly deck. I've forgotten
Runic?
Runic. I kept thinking Mythic, and I was like, this is wrong.
No.
Because those were meant to be
Yeah, we
start
meant
of
to get those earlier.
June, and then we got delayed until like after we got Sprite. I was
I
like,
wonder if
okay.
they really want to make
Cool.
Master Duel like the most close representation of the TCG and OCG experience, and they just go, no, you get it
Actually,
later.
This is delayed for Europe, North America. Here you go.
See, another. Why?
They'll eventually figure out how to region lock certain cards, and then they'll be like, "Oh yes, jump promos. You don't get those."
Yeah, you gotta buy the battle pass.
Yeah.
I brought this up a while back. Like this was on a I think pre-Ben podcast. That at some point they'll work out that like, oh, this region likes to play combo decks, so we'll make the combo cards short printed. This region likes to play like heavy control, stun, and shit
This
like
point
that.
was years ago.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
brought this up ages ago. But
Okay.
I reckon if they ever work that out, every region would be poor.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
because no one likes to buy the other region's cards.
Yes.
Like, the US market is just like freedom and wants to buy its own shit. And Europe just gets like super snobby about the way that US prints look.
Yes.
And they're just like, no, it looked bad.
That's literally me. I'm like,
There's always certain cards though. I was like, American Ghost Ogre, nice. There was, back when I was playing Blue Eyes, an alternative in American I thought was like really nice.
American
that's
Borrowed
it.
Dragon. Oh.
Yeah.
Weirdly specific.
And it is that right? Because American ones are typically brighter, right? That was
Yeah.
like, and that's just literally it. Some things were like super dark to the point where I'm like, what is even on this art? And then it's really pops in the American, and then but the otherwise the opposite is also true. Sometimes it looks a little bit too loud, and you like this whole heap getting lost in the look there, and you're like, oh, turn it down.
Don't like the brown of monsters on North American cards.
Yeah,
Just
I get that.
upsets me.
In some lighting, though, American ultra rare monsters look alty. Like I remember,
Yes.
I remember Lewis had American Altergeist at one point.
Yeah.
And like he flashed the Meliseek or Marionetta, I think it was, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Is that naughty?
Ah.
Next point though, Jake.
The next point is our Discord. If you weren't aware, we do have a Discord. Link will be in the description below. Feel free to jump in, say hi, and ask us questions. Where the fuck is the app? There we go. So, our first comment rather than question comes from 6i6. He has a conspiracy theory to share.
Oh, okay.
So his conspiracy is Konami have a vast team of smaller resellers on their books to make money on the secondary market, which is why they short print certain cards. Every now and then they funnel 30 to 50 of high-priced cards, not the Starlights, but like the cost about as much as the product they come up for, to single sellers to drip feed into the market and maintain the chase. They don't really need employees to do that because the vendors are doing that just fine.
Vendors are doing that fine, yeah.
Also,
I suppose one theory with short prints is like they could be doing that so that like we don't get a complete washout of certain metas.
Like, just rather the washout.
They probably don't, because then they have to ban product a lot sooner, which means they don't get as many sales.
Yeah, print monkey borders common, it's fine.
I don't think anything like that would happen at a large scale. I wouldn't put it past someone who has like access to.
If Jake's getting a message.
If it's possible, and I still don't think it would happen anyway, but if someone had access to, say, for example, like where the Starlights are made or things like that, I wouldn't be surprised if someone pockets a Starlight or two here and there and then just happens
In
to
the
sell
US,
it.
they don't need to. They just give them entire boxes.
Yeah,
of
also
Starlights.
that.
That did happen though. Which set was it? Ghost from the Past last year. Remember? Someone took a bunch from the warehouse.
I don't remember hearing about that.
Yeah, someone took like a bunch from the warehouse. That may have... Was it proven fake? I don't think it was proven fake, but...
I don't know, look, I wouldn't condone it, but like I can understand people having the temptation if there's like... If they can get what costs a company probably $5 a card, because Starlight has a fair bit going on, right?
Yeah.
Let's just be generous and say it costs them $5 to use all the materials and the time averaged out, all that fun stuff,
Yeah.
the card. If you could like nab 8 or 9 of them and you've got what in the secondary market is between $3,000 and $8,000 worth of cards, look, I can see why the temptation would be there. That's, I think, a more realistic conspiracy than the whole company funneling.
Yeah.
I mean, Konami's huge, right? Like, the card game side of it is, like, tiny. Like, I'm pretty sure they do, like, slot machines and...
Pachinko.
Yeah.
Pachinko is where the real money is for Konami.
Exactly
we're
right.
small time.
Well, it does raise a question whether, like, with the sort of news that you had about people taking things from the warehouse, just how much security and control is in those warehouses.
Yeah.
Because, like...
That doesn't happen that often.
Yeah. It's a curious question. We'll have to find one of these undercover resellers to...
It's kind of interesting, though, because it's not like they'd ever have to report things if they didn't want to. Because, like, once again, for them, the only cost is, like, the literal cost of manufacturing, right?
Yeah.
It's the secondary market that holds this
Yeah.
insane value to it. So it's like, oh, damn, we're missing 9 Starlights. Better pay $40 and print 9 more. Like, all right, sure. And once again, that's probably being generous as to the cost of printing it.
It could also be a fact that like the people that work in the warehouses are like, I print some fucking children's card game. That's
Yeah.
why it's in Texas. Because there's a bunch of rednecks that are like, I don't want none of this card game.
That's why we never get booba cards.
Yeah. A bunch of evangelical Texans that are just like, no, I'm not printing this. Ooh.
Yeah. Ferrer is already illegal. Like, it's,
Yeah.
We only worship one God!
yeah.
Our next conspiracy theory comes from Jesse. Not our Jesse.
Joshua?
That's just a joke for me and him. His conspiracy theory is Roger and Derek don't actually... Oh, I should probably mention who Roger and Derek are.
It's the R&D department.
Yeah, the
Konami.
R&D of Konami is just two dudes named Roger and Derek. R&D.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So Roger and Derek don't actually do research and dev, but they are psychologists who have mastered the art of addiction and are just stringing along millions of addicts with this brilliant brainwashing scheme. Who needs drugs when you have shiny cardboard?
Okay, sure.
Like, I don't know what research you need to do. It's been like the same thing for like 25 years. So like,
No, the
I
point
don't know what
is
they're getting paid for.
the R&D department is ban list related,
Oh,
and like they just don't actually do R&D for the ban list. They're just like, oh, fucking ban this.
It's
I don't
very
know.
much reactive rather than proactive at
Yeah.
like,
Konami R&D.
no, it'll be fine. No, it's not. Shit.
It's okay. No need to test it beforehand. Out there it goes.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, yeah, but I think people have always said the same thing, right? Like, you could have a team of, let's be generous. Like, let's just say 30 or 40 employees designed to, like, think about things, test, and think about interactions. And then it's been brought up the point before, it's like, there still cannot be, you could do that for probably 6 months, and it still wouldn't compare to the entire player base having 2 weeks of testing. Like, the brainstorming by comparison. Like, they're like, oh, this is ridiculous. Some stuff's more obvious.
I can understand that, like, yeah, they won't pick up on every niche interaction and they probably will miss some stuff. But I think there's a difference to be said between, like, 10 million people testing it and nobody testing
And
it.
Yeah.
there's a difference between 10 million people
And no
doing
million
it
testing it,
and
yeah.
the person who does the ban list being like, I think mine's fine at 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Roger. Also, the only reason I don't believe this conspiracy theory is because I refuse to believe that there's someone called Dr. Derek.
Yeah, look, it's...
Actually, even Dr. Roger.
Nah.
It's too rhymey and schemy. It just doesn't sound right.
I mean, let's be honest. We gave up on the bin list and that team like many years ago. Like they've always had the same policy of like, oh, it's only a problem when the product's a little bit out of date.
Yeah.
Like Spiral was around for 6 months too long at that point. At least as
Well, when
oppressive
came
as it
around
was.
the second time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, sorry. Like 8 months later, we now realize that master plan is an issue and resource an issue. It's like
You could just ban Master Plan
Bruh.
from the second Spiral ban list. They could have just banned Master Plan and they'd never had to look at the deck again.
Yeah.
Instead, no.
yeah.
The other thing that gets me is that, like, the OCG and Duel Links, not Master Duel as far as I can remember, they get explanations as to why cards are coming off or coming on. like, oh, this card's been oppressive for some time, it's making the game unfun, therefore it's getting banned, or this card no longer sees competitive play. In the current meta, we feel that it's not going to be up to pace, blah, 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 blah.
Digimon does
in the
that really
TCGs,
well
it's just like, what are you going to
Not for
fucking do?
Jake.
Yeah.
Jake's like, you ban my shit. Fuck
Yeah,
off.
yeah. Digimon does that currently at the
Drop that
moment
shit,
with every list. They're currently giving a pretty decent. Oh, sometimes you might not even love the explanation, but like at least it's there.
Yeah.
I think the last time we got with Yu-Gi-Oh, if I recall correctly, was around the time of Extra Deck Monarchs.
Yes, I actually think it was the Necros ban list was the last one they justified. So the one just before Extra Deck Monarchs.
Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why they don't do that anymore. It's just like their explanation is like, "Fuck you." That's why.
That was the emergency list, wasn't it? The one that
emergency
got Jin...
list was the last point of communication.
Yeah, the Jin Buster.
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose we had that as well. Actually, the Pepe E-ban list. Did
Yes.
they put something in
So
there?
the Jin Buster one was the last time they gave proper explanations. I'm fairly sure. The last time they even had any communication was the E-ban list.
Yeah.
And then
The
that's it.
Pepe ban.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even then, it was like a broad thing, right? It was like due to
they were
something,
like,
something.
this
These
is-
cards.
This
they
is
were just
how
they were more just
play it
like
if you want to play it. If you don't
I
want to play it,
don't even remember if they said that. I just recall it being like, yeah, from the 16th, I think it was onwards. By the way, you can't use this, this, and this.
Yeah, it was like the adjusted list.
The
where,
adjusted
like,
list,
If your
and then they
locals chooses to not do it, don't do it. Regionals, YCSs, they play by this ban list.
Yeah.
Our next question, or our first question really, comes to us from Ragai. What do you think is the most underrated aspect of players in the competitive scene? As in something you don't think pro players get enough attention or credit for?
Actually thinking through in-depth interactions and being like, this is the time that I need to hit this. Whereas like that's the difference between alright players and good players, is that good players know their matchup and is like, this Ash Blossom will stop this deck if I hit at exactly this point. Whereas like mediocre to bad players will be like, first search Ash Blossom.
Yeah, knowing your points of interaction on both sides is actually a big one as well. Like knowing if and when you can let a hand trap through.
Yeah.
And that's something I've noticed too with replays and stuff that I've watched, is like the bad players just like react to the very first thing that happens to them. It's like, oh no, I have to stop this.
They're
Whereas the other ones are
auto-clicking
like, okay, well I've got this and this, I can let this go through, I'll still get to combo, something, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Another one, and someone mentioned it further down as well, 6i6 mentioned it, is playing the player rather than the cards. Like, there's obviously interactions between the cards, but also reading your opponent.
Yeah.
Yep.
When they're tapping the table. Is that an Abiru in hand? I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe I
And
should play
then
around
that can
just
be
in
a
case.
fake out as well, right?
Yeah.
As well too.
And knowing when someone's trying to conceal's probably the wrong word, but like they're trying to, what's the word without making it sound like they're cheating? Like they try to disguise their emotions in some extent. Like some people react
Got a poker face
kind of
style,
visibly
yeah.
as to what they've got, and
Yeah.
sometimes you know that it's not a bluff because just the way that they're reacting. And then some people are very stoic in their plays.
You can also do the opposite as well too, which I think is something that's a little underrated. Like either laughing things off, maybe not looking like you're taking it too seriously,
Yeah,
without misrepresenting the game state. Like that can also be a big part of it as well too. Like I probably haven't really bothered with anything like that since a YCS, but like it can be a similar thing. Like if you're pretty aloof, or like someone opens a hand, you just kind of, it could be anything, right? You can just like kind of open your hand, you can be like, oh, be like, yep, fair enough, and you've emoted that you're like, yeah, it's done, go off, king, but you've never said that.
Yeah.
And then if someone, bam, a beer, bitch. Like, got him. Like I think that's another thing as well. But what you're saying as well, yeah, definitely the intricacies. Like I think what most people don't do, and in some cases can't do, aren't willing to do, is like put in the like literally hundreds of hours into all the matchups that you should respect.
Yeah.
All those like niche interactions, knowing exactly how far someone could, in theory, extend past or do other things, like knowing what their outs would be to your outs. Doing the math on ratios and other playtesting, and the point I brought up with Drake Slayers before, for example, like just as an example, like knowing intricately, I could get there, for example, but I'd probably need 2 months of this deck and probably a whole heap of testing. But once again, those things in and out, I know exactly when to bring it out, what to do. Like I'm more or less there at Flunder, or probably close to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think kind of having that bit where you can almost go on autopilot, and then you can, I guess, reserve some brain power for the more important decisions.
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing combo-y type decks. So what's interesting about the tier stuff is like it's so off the cuff, right? You're like, hey, what do I get? Like,
if I see this, I see this.
and that's probably another thing, right? Like, you could elaborate on that further, right? You can be like, those people in the top cut right now, you guaranteed they know back to back. They're like, all right, if this gets milled, this is how we do it. This is the interaction.
Yeah.
This is what plays to my best, whilst also playing around what they've got as best as possible.
Yeah.
Like, to an extent, tier has become less and less luck based the more support it's gotten. Now that with the Ishizu stuff, it's less about like what you mill as to when you mill it.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like you got an absolute maximum of what would it be? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mils at most.
Yes. That's with your double Merly, Sheeran plus.
So Sheeran, Merly, the Kid Carlos, and then I'm sort of discounting Harvness to an extent as well, and then Rhino Heartsend.
Yeah, okay.
So 12 without a Harvness, and you've got a say 40 card deck, even at its tightest. You're not guaranteed to hit every card that you need to actually go off, and that's where the dangers came into it a lot with early builds for the TCG at least, because it sort of gave you that utility of like, oh, I could hit a danger, get further into the deck so that I've got more tiers to hit, or they hit a tier in hand and it triggers and I start to do stuff. Whereas now with the Ishizu stuff, you're sending anywhere of like half your deck to the graveyard if you're playing 40 within your first turn, and then it's like, oh, I've hit too many tiers, I can put some back, it's fine.
Something to the point of what Andrew said as well, like about the players putting in the hard yards to like learn all this stuff. Being a top tier player is a full-time job. Like,
I'd agree with that.
It is a full-time job. You're putting 38 hours a week into learning your matchups. Like, it is a fucking grind.
For the genuine pro players, and then like for example, we'll probably do the best week again leading up to YCS. Like, we all have actual jobs and all the rest, right? But at the same time, we play casually, semi-competitively, relatively, like once or twice a week at like, locals and stuff. But come December, ramping it up to give us the best chance. And
that will probably be the best thing about this year's YCS for us, is that it's a week earlier than normal. So we'll be coming off like Christmas holidays and stuff like that. So there will be more opportunities for us to test, at least. We won't be like, you have a week of like kind of holiday period, then you have a week of back into the swing of like random life, then you have the YCS. This year we could see a lineup of like, kind of like chill, relax period, YCS, then you get back to your life. Yeah. And hopefully that sees us do a bit of difference.
I think that's the top. And I'll probably reinforce that one more time. Is like, I think anyone who wants to do well will know their deck back and forth. And the people who do excellent know every deck back and forth. Like, every relevant deck, obviously, put that in inverted commas. You're going to give so much respect to certain rogue strategies, but like, you'll know your top 4, top 5 matchups back and forth. Yep, this is how this usually goes. This is what I need to see to stand a chance. This is what I need to decide going first, going second. And you've already done it. Like, I'm not at that point right now, but like, I know towards those high-end events, usually you're doing it. I'll be like, okay, this is like against Sword Soul, I don't know. I know that typically, like, my most optimal side outs are these 3 cards, exactly these 3 coming in. I've still got enough engine and push, but I've got the right side cards. Because having to think about that mid side deck, and it's can be rough, because you're like, you're like, 100%. Oh shit, am I making the right decision? Am I making the wrong decision? The difference between having the playtesting already done and knowing this is the best decision. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, if I lose to variance, it is what it is. But I know that most of the time, if I see X, the result will be Y. Like, that's probably
something that's always frustrated me about that as well, is that I will sit down like a week before or whenever before a major event. I'll be like, these are my side patterns versus like this deck, this deck, this deck, and this deck. I sit down round 1 and it's always against Rogue. And I'm like, fucking what am I siding?
So one thing I like about Flunder is it's typically most rogues it can smack, especially with Evenly and Lightning Storm in the main. But
hey, are you going first? Put these cards in. Are you going second? Put these cards in. Thank you.
And another thing is keeping cool under pressure for those high tier players. It's not all that often, unless they're being put under like extreme scenarios, that you'll see them sort of get flustered or anything like that.
Crack.
They don't give away.
Yeah, like the most recent time I've ever seen anyone topping, and even then, it was like very briefly as well, and it was only because someone was having a go, was Bowden in the
he keeps his
Oceanics.
Cool. He keeps his cool very well.
He kept his cool very well until like one thing almost went against him, and he was like, no, this isn't the way it is. And then when the second thing went against him, he was like, no, this. And I was like, this is the first time you've like emoted for a while.
Yeah.
Emoted.
Emoted at,
I know
at an event.
it's technically the correct word. It's just funny in that context.
I agree, and that's something like I need to work on for YCS as well. For example, like I have a very bad habit. You've probably seen it, but like, and I guess you could fake people out with this as well. To be fair, though, so this can go either way. But like, if I know something is very critical as to whether like if it goes through or not, if it's gonna work. Like, I'll think about it longer. I'll kind of teeter on whether I play it or not.
Yeah.
I'll probably put it down slower, being like, fuck, do I do this? Do I not do this? And you're thinking about, do I get impermed or this or that? And I think that's the worst bit is, like, if read correctly, someone's going to be like, oh, this is a big decision.
This is
like,
where I
this
hit.
is the crucial point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can fake, like, if you've got the extenders, and that's something you could definitely fake out. That's not misrepresenting the game state or anything like that. That is just a bit of a mind game. Could go the other way. And that's another thing you could do if you want to take it that far, but...
I got Luke with that today, where I was like thinking really heavily on like a certain activation, and then I dropped the activation, he negated it, and I was like, "Yep, cool, normal summon Super Dragon, man. Come on."
You got a dragon. You got a
It was
dragon.
like,
You got a dragon.
he had like Chi Zhao in the back row set, and I was like, I just need to I need to bait the Chi Zhao, and then I can normal summon the chamber, and off I go. And then I like just started throwing like random cards out on the board just to try and force everything out. And then he activated the blackout, popped his Chi Zhao, and because I ended up going like triple burst, and I've had a Pisty here, so I was like set up to Pisty back, and he had used the Chi Zhao, and then I was like, well, he has to use the blackout right now, and use the blackout, and I was like, yeah, cool, normal summon chamber, full combo.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, it's one of those things that can either help or hinder you is knowing like the pacing of your plays. Sometimes you give away what you do by the pace you play it. Sometimes you then put someone in a pitfall because of the pace. So
it's easy to get tilted when you do the maths as well, though. Like when you say, "Oh, like I've done directly, I've kept it at 40. I've got X amount of hand traps. I should open them this percentage of the time, and all my starters, I've got like, for example, in Flunder, very rarely happens, but I'm like, I've got 7 copies of map effectively in my deck.
Yeah.
So I get a little tilted when I don't see one. I'm like,
Yeah.
the math says I should see one way to this map every game.
Your hypergeometric calculation says it should be there.
Yeah. You're like,
We
why
should
have I
get-
got 3 Eagle in here? Like, stop it.
we should get Lachlan on the phone at this point. He has some words on maths and opening cards or not opening cards.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What's the next
Do we
question,
have any
Jake?
left? Yeah.
Our next question is from Raga again. Which childhood anime world would be the most fun to live in? Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Digimon?
You can die in Yu-Gi-Oh.
The only one you like legitimately couldn't die in is Pokemon. Digimon, like every so often, a fucking thing tears in the fabric between the two worlds, and some dino fucker starts stomping Tokyo.
And a bunch of just like the plebs die, and the main characters are like, "Oh, I'll save the day." It's like people are dead.
Your father died.
I always get frustrated the same way with Digimon and Pokemon, where they're like, there's always like the main characters, but they literally don't do anything the whole time. It's always just their like companions. It's like, Ash, what have you ever done with your life, dude? You've just got pets that you imprison. Like,
She shows up and loses at the end.
that's all you've ever done.
Even then, 23 of them are Tauros.
Yeah.
It's like you could want to live in the Yu-Gi-Oh world, but like if you're one of those Battle City people who gets taken out by a rare hunter,
Yeah,
it's not looking good for you.
Yeah,
The
like,
Yeah.
I'd probably choose the Digimon one. I think that's where you're probably least likely to die. I feel. So even though the things come through, I swear to God, they've never actually like killed anyone.
It depends if you're a main character or not. You're just living in this world.
Yeah,
True, you gotta be equipped with the plot armor.
yeah,
It's true.
yeah. When
You have to have plot armor.
when a rift happens and your building collapses, it's like
Yeah, bro, your insurance would just be through the roof. Like, it'd be terrible.
yeah. Insurance in
So
Tokyo
this is
and
a
Digimon
prone
world.
area for
Yeah, don't live in Tokyo. If
Black
you're
tie,
really serious.
right?
Hey, just live in that world, but just be back in Australia, where it's just like, nothing ever happens here. It's all happening in
Yeah,
Japan.
it's just randomly Australia.
And that's
You
fine.
haven't watched enough Digimon, my friend.
Oh,
They had, I think it was in
They Australia?
their second, I think it was in their second series. They had actual, what do they call them? Digidestin. That was from Australia, and his thing was like a crab.
very Australian.
So
The unique Australian crab.
Literally.
the answer is Yu-Gi-Oh, but you want to be a background character.
Yeah.
I don't know. You pretty much just want to be like Yugi Moto. That's who you want to be.
No. Then you can die.
Yugi doesn't die.
Yeah, but you can die.
Mm.
You lose a shadow game, you're dead.
I never really liked the series, but like the idea of GX being like, if you don't want to go to regular school, you can just go to one that's about the card games you play. It's like,
Yeah.
that sounds like a cool way to go to school.
Again, you might die, but
Apparently,
We don't speak of GX here.
yeah.
Actually,
the-
yeah.
the
Let's
GX
be
one,
more
yeah.
specific. If I was to be in any of them, it would probably be Vrains.
Yeah,
Vrains
okay.
seems to be the least dangerous
Oh
if
no,
you're
my
like
shit got
a
hacked.
normal.
Oh well.
Yeah, it seems to be the least dangerous, and like if you look at all the other ones, there's something fucked going
It's like
on.
5Ds.
first-
Welcome to the shithole dimension.
Literally, like it's like
You are
it's
poor
that.
now.
It's that. So the first one they've
Just
got
homeless
Shadow
simulator.
Games. First one they got Shadow Games. Cunts are losing their soul. Second one is like a school, but it's like a Harry Potter level school where someone's coming to kill you every semester.
Yeah.
The third one is 5Ds.
Yeah.
No, Zexal.
No,
Zexal?
5Ds, yeah.
5Ds. Yeah, it's like rich and poor, but on like a mad scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Just class
everyone
wars.
has to ride motorbikes, and motorbikes are dangerous enough already.
Yeah.
Like every time you go on a motorbike, you're gonna die. Zexal, haven't watched enough of Zexal to say
From
what's
what
dangerous.
The Zexal I've watched, it's like, welcome to this wasteland. It's like, okay,
I don't know.
cool.
Zexal's like Omega cringe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't stand the like main character's voice. I just can't. And even the animations and stuff, everything's like super dark and edgy, and it's just like no, just stop.
Yeah.
What was after that? Arc V.
Again,
main character
dimensional rifts.
also very
Dimensional
cringy in that one.
rifts.
Oh yeah.
Dimensional Rifts. The main character is like mega bipolar to a point where they had to separate his personalities into 4 dimensions,
Yeah.
and each one of his personalities has a girlfriend.
The
And-
one Yu-Gi-Oh player that could split into 4 ways and still have 4 girlfriends.
And then yeah, this one, the most recent one, seems to be the most safe. But even then, every so often, someone gets trapped in the digital world for a little while.
I just like Brains. I just thought that was just like a nice change of pace for a lot of it, right? Like the dude is honestly like not cringy. There's very minimal cringe or extra stuff. I don't know if there's some cringe later. Maybe
Jake doesn't like that he has 3 points for everything.
Yeah.
Point
There
number
is that.
one.
Yeah, so this is the thing. He reminds me too much of Josh. Way too much like Josh.
Good thing
He's
I
like
opened one-
super self-assured, and unfortunately, he's in a position where he can back it up.
And
So
he just
it's
keeps
really
and he
annoying.
just keeps winning with Starburst. Yeah, this is Josh. This is literally just Josh.
Josh is the protagonist of Vrains.
It's actually Josh. Look at this guy's yellow hair. It's just
Yeah,
fucking
Josh.
Josh. This is Josh in a wig.
Oh, shit. And just one last thing to mention as well. Not so much a question, but a statement from a new Discord member named Wampa. No
Yeah,
question,
Wampa.
but shout out to the guys and people in the Discord for answering his Yu-Gi-Oh questions all the time.
That is a good question.
Our Discord is full of a bunch of chads, so if you haven't already, please jump in and is it subscribe? What is it? Join the Discord.
Join
There
the
we go.
Discord.
Yes,
Yes.
that's what they all say. That's what the young people say.
Smash the
Yeah.
Discord.
Smash that Discord button.
Subscribe to our Discord.
Like the comments.
Pay for Turbo. I don't even know what that does.
Do I? It keeps asking me, would you like to donate to Go Turbo? No.
You want some turbo? I think you needed to host more than a certain amount of people or something.
Okay.
Or-
Oh, that's not a problem.
I could be wrong with that. I think I remember that.
No, it's definitely to facilitate for like good enough like camera setups and
Yeah, I think it
Voice
allows
chat?
Oh,
it
but
allows
yes, yes. I know
it's
what
like
you're
more
about to say.
upload, more upload speed and stuff like that. I think it is. Yeah.
at one of the remote dual YCSs, they're like, join our Discord. They started the YCS and they're like, we forgot to get Turbo.
Actually, I've had that on a digital Digimon online big regional thing, and they were like, you will literally get extra packs if you volunteer to use your Nitro to help
Yeah.
the server like work, because it's probably not gonna work. And we're like, cool story, bro.
Fuck, I remember this
So
so much
dumb.
now. I remember them being like, would anyone like to like hook us up with Nitro?
Please give us some Nitro.
Fucking Jesus.
Click the Nitro.
Join our Nitro. That does conclude us for today. Thank you all very much for watching. As I said, please join our Discord, like us on Facebook if you're there, follow us if you're watching the stream. No, podcast. But yeah, we'll catch you all next week. Peace.